करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः नित्यानंद मंत्रः शक्ति गौरांग गौरगोपालः हरे कृष्ण महामंत्रे सर्वजीव उद्धारकः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नित्यानंद 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 गौरांग 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 So today we will continue the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One remaining pastime the fourth canto is the pastime of King Vena, very, very sinful king. He was actually, after Dhruva Maharaj's pastime yesterday, we will see in the fifth generation after Dhruva Maharaj appeared the sixth Chakshusha Manu, which is the sixth Manu. Now the seventh Manu is going on. So Chakshusha Manu got 12 sons. Out of them, Ulmuka was the eldest son, and Ulmuka's son was Anga. And Anga performed a very big sacrifice because he wanted a son. But unfortunately, in his sacrifice, none of the demigods came. So he was wondering, he asked all the Brahmanas why none of the demigods are present. The Brahmana said, only Anga, you are a very good man, but due to your past sins in your past lives, the demigods are not accepting your offering. So ultimately, they performed another sacrifice and they offered oblations directly to Lord Vishnu. So a person came out from the sacrifice carrying a pot of sweet rice. But Anga, he smelled that sweet rice and he offered the rice to his wife. And his wife ate the rice. But unfortunately, his wife's name was Sunita. She was the daughter of Mrityu, personified death. So very auspicious family she was coming from. So she got a son after eating that sweet rice, very dangerous son. His name was Vena. This Vena was such a sinful boy that right from his childhood, when he used to play with his friends, if they don't accept his verdict in the play, he used to kill them while playing only. He used to kill his friends. And he used to, when he used to walk, people say, see, this cruel Vena is coming now. Everybody used to be afraid of even touching his shadow. He was so sinful. And Anga would punish his son in so many ways, but his son would never improve. He would arrest him, he would put him behind bars, and not give him food for some days, but still he would not. So Anga was thinking, how happy are those parents who have no children? Rather to have a bad child, better to have no child. Like our Param Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to say, sometimes he used to open temples all over India. In some temples, some devotees would be very lazy and they would start fighting with each other about which room they want to occupy in the temple, ashram, and all those things. So when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would come to know, he says, close down the ashram. Better to lock down the cow shed rather than to have, defective cows. Better to... so that is why in 64 Gaudiya Maths, out of that, 32 Gaudiya Maths were on rent. He never used to believe in buying the temples. He says, let us have temples in different cities on rent. Because what will happen is, when they rent the center and they start preaching the message of the Lord, if they become lazy and start fighting, immediately the temple can be closed down. But if you buy a place, then all the fighting over the property and the land and all those things are there. So that was his method, that Pran Ache Jar, She Hetu Prachar. As long as life is there, as long as enthusiasm, bhakti is there, at that much time the preaching of the Lord's message will go on. But when that bhakti and enthusiasm goes away, then there is no use. So Vena, he was very, very unbearable, and Anga said, I cannot tolerate this. One night his wife was sleeping and he left his home and went into the forest. He was the king of the whole earth, but he was so tormented by his son that he went into the forest, and then all the Brahmanas and the Rishis started searching after him. Where is our king? They searched the whole earth, but they could not find him. Ultimately, the great sages like Brigu and the other sages, they assembled they saw that when the king has disappeared, all the dacoits and the thieves have become very powerful. They are looting the whole country, because when there is no king, when the leader is very weak, then the wrong people they take advantage of the whole situation. So the Brahmanas were in a very hurry. They did not consult the ministers. They said, let us appoint this Vena as the next king. The ministers were not happy, but the Brahmanas, they did not consult the ministers because everything was going into chaos. So they appointed Vena as the king, and immediately when Vena became the king, he became even more proud and angry and wild, and he went all over the earth and said, stop this sacrifice to Vishnu. You worship me, I am the king. I am God. All the atheistic people nowadays, they say I am God. So, they want to make a movie on I am God. Everybody wants to proclaim that everything, whatever they survey, whatever they see, they think it is for my enjoyment. Aham Ishvaro, Aham Bhogi. I am everything. So Vena was like that. He said that, oh Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all the devatas are present in the body of the king. So you should offer sacrifice to the king. You should forget this Vishnu. So all the Brahmanas and the Rishis, they became very sad. They had to forcibly stop the sacrifice because their worship of the Lord, because of fear from Vena. So again they all got together and they consulted, what we have done, oh my Lord, we appointed him the king and now he is taking the whole country into more worse ruin. Earlier the dacoits were attacking, now he is stopping all spiritual practices. So this is much more worse. So they all got together and they went to Vena. They said, let us request him, let us try to bring him to his senses. So they all went. It is described in the Vedas that if the leaders and the politicians they become corrupt, then the Brahminical class, the Vedic class, they should request, try to reform them, and if they don't reform them, then they should advise them properly. And nowadays, unfortunately, there is no Brahminical class. Nobody has Vedic knowledge, so who will advise the leaders? And the leaders don't want to take advice. They think that taking advice from Bhagavad Gita is secular. They should have a secular country. And they should not bring any religion into the picture. But actually, without spiritual knowledge, ruling the country is simply blind. There is no vision at all. So, they all went, the sages, and they told Vena, see Vena, for your benefit, when we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with various sacrifices, He is pleased and the earth gives grains and the rain is coming and the milk is there. Everything comes by pleasing the Lord Krishna. So you cannot stop this. Please accept that it is for your benefit also. We are making your work easier. And when Vena heard this, Vena looked at them and said, you fools! I have given you a chance to rectify yourself, but still you are coming and teaching me. You all should be taught a very big lesson. You either give up all the sacrifices and you worship me, or you die. In that way, when Vena said like that, the Rishi Munis, they all loudly heard this word, said, this is the end, this is the end. He says, Vena has insulted the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so we will finish him just now. So the Rishi Munis, they went up to him and they raised their hands and they only said one word, Hum! Hum! They uttered the word hum, and when they uttered the word hum, immediately Vena fell down dead on the ground. He died, and everybody was happy, but his wife of Vena was very unhappy, and she decided that she will preserve the body of Vena in special chemicals, so that one day she can bring him back to life. So she preserved the body of Vena. Is that this light is too battery? Okay. This camera, can you keep it close? Keep it close here because of the lack of light. So ultimately, Vena's body.
Excuse me.
Keep it down. Keep this on top.
So,
Take that.
when the sages again left back, now again the problem was that in the absence of Vena, because Vena was a very horrible and a terrible king, all the dacoits were afraid of him. But after Vena died, then everything became back to normal. All the thieves and dacoits started stealing. A lot of dust was raised from the horses of the dacoits. Storms were happening. And ultimately the sages again thought what to do. So they ultimately brought the body of Vena from his wife and they decided to churn his body. They did a special churning of his body from Vena's thighs and his lower part. When they were churned, there was one person, the dwarfish man came out. His name was Bahuka. He came out of the Vena's lower body, and his complexion was black like a crow, and he had short limbs and reddish eyes. And he became later as Nishada, the king of all the Nishadas, the Nishada race. And then they took the Veda's arms, and they started churning his arms. And when they started churning his arms, from his arms two beautiful personalities came out. One was so beautiful, he was a direct expansion of Lord Vishnu. His name was Prithu. And the second was a beautiful lady, her name was Archi. In that way, the Lord appeared as a partial incarnation from Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj ki jai. To save the world from ruination, to rule the world. Prithu was a soul like us, but he was empowered by Lord Vishnu, so he was known as Shaktiavesh, avatar of the Lord, empowered incarnation of the Lord. And immediately when Prithu came, all the Gandharvas started blowing their conches in the sky, showering flowers, and Prithu was coronated, and different demigods gave different benedictions to Prithu. Brahma observed that Prithu's palm, there were signs of Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. All the holy symbols were there in Prithu's palm. Nobody can claim himself to be God without having symbols of God in his hands and his feet. Nowadays, so many bogus gods are coming up everywhere in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, in Tamil Nadu, in Uttar Pradesh. So many bogus gods are being manufactured. They have their own ashramas and they claim to be incarnations of God. But foolish people, they follow them, but they don't ask them, where is your symbols on your hand and feet? They don't ask. In fact, they deliberately cover their hands with socks and feet so that, there was one bogus god who came. I asked him, where is your... He said, no, I am feeling cold, so I am wearing socks. I cannot remove them. He was not willing to show me his... because he did not have any symbols. So Krishna has 19 symbols in his lotus feet. So when Prithu and the partial incarnations, they have fewer symbols. On the top of the fingers they have conch, all the 5 fingers, and other 5 they have chakra. So like that, these are the symbols of the incarnation of God. So Brahma was very pleased to see that Prithu was an incarnation, and Kuvera, he gave Prithu Maharaj a golden throne on which he could sit, and Varuna gave him a brilliant umbrella, and Vayu gave him a beautiful chamaras, and Dharma gave him a beautiful garland by wearing which he will become very famous, and Indra gave him a helmet, beautiful helmet which will protect him from every kind of calamity, and Yamaraj gave him a beautiful spectra as a weapon, scepter, and Brahma's wife Saraswati, who is also known as Bharati, she gave him a beautiful necklace, and in that way Brahma presented him a beautiful garment which will protect him, and Vishnu actually gave a partial Sudarshan Chakra. His own Sudarshan Chakra, the partial chakra, was given to Prithu. And Lakshmi gave the king imperishable opulence. And Shiva gave him a sword whose sheath was marked with 10 moons. See, Shiva is giving the sword to Prithu. It has 10 moons on the sword. And the moon god gave horses, and Vishwakarma gave a beautiful chariot. Agni gave Prithu a bow which was made up of the horns of goats and cows. And Surya gave him the arrows which were as brilliant as sunshine. And so many gifts were given to Prithu. If you count these gifts, it will take us 1 week to actually narrate all the gifts given to Prithu, but we will proceed ahead now. So Prithu Maharaj was very pleased and he accepted in fact he was such a great king that all his citizens, they lost all fear from everyone. And the earth, the Bhumi, she gives all the grains and milk in abundance. Because when Bhumi is pleased, was very pleased that Prithu was protecting her. And so everyone was very, very happy in Prithu Maharaj. So then Prithu Maharaj decided to undertake. But unfortunately, before what has happened is because of Vena's sinful activities, Bhumi had retracted everything within her. Because sinful people were misusing her opulence. So Prithu said to Bhumi, the earth, give back all the grains and all the milk, everything, you please return it back. Because all my citizens are starving, they are not eaten for days, there is no milk. So Bhumi, instead of trying to listen to Prithu, she took the form of a cow and she started running. And Prithu Maharaj followed her, and Prithu Maharaj said, I will kill you because you are starving all my citizens. You are not returning. The cow, she started crying. He said, if you kill me, all the citizens will float in the air. How will they live? The whole Prithvi will get destroyed. And Bhumi Devi herself, actually Prithu being an incarnation of God, he had the power to kill even Bhumi. So ultimately Bhumi said, you see, because of Vena, I had to retract everything. If you want to take back everything, again you have to milk me properly. If you milk me, you will get everything. So then Prithu arranged for Swayambhu Manu to become a calf, and he milked the cow, and again all the herbs and the grains and everything was returned back to the earth. And then so many other people, they milked the cows. Again, this is a very vast subject matter in the Bhagavatam. That Brihaspati became a calf, and the great rishis milked the cow, and all the Vedic knowledge came out of Bhumi again, which was hidden. Then the Daityas, they transformed Prahlad into a calf, and they milked the cow, and liquor and beer came out because of the Yakshas, and the Rakshasas, they milked the cow. Then the Gandharvas and Apsaras, they made Vishwasu into a calf, and they started milking the Bhumi cow. And because of that sweet music and heavenly beauty and other things, they came out of the cow. Then the inhabitants of Pitruloka, they made Ariyama into a calf, and they started milking Bhumi cow. And then food offered to the ancestors, the Pitrulokas, that came out. The Siddhas and the Vidyadharas, they transformed themselves as a calf, and the great sages, they transformed Kapila into a calf, and they started milking. And then mystic powers came out, Siddhis, they came out of the cow. In that way, again, this is a very vast subject matter. It will take us weeks to really describe what all things came out of Bhumi Devi. Then ultimately, everyone became happy, and the whole earth, because Bhumi Devi yielded so many things. And then ultimately, Prithu Maharaj became the most honored and respected king of the whole planet. Everyone would be joyous. Wherever he used to go, he would mount on the top of his elephant. And it was just like Ram Rajya. It was the most, for thousands of years, he ruled the universe. have one slide regarding his Ashwamedha Yajna. Then Prithu Maharaj conducted 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. The only other person who conducted 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas was whom? Was Indra. If you do 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, you get the post of Indra. You can become Indra. So Prithu Maharaj did 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas. But the last Ashwamedha Yajna, Indra became so afraid that if he will do the 100th one, then he will take over my post and I will have to become a sweeper in the street. I will lose my post. Even the Swarga Loka, even in the heavenly planets, they are afraid to lose their power and position. So that is a problem everywhere. Sense of insecurity. The only place where there is no insecurity is where? In Vaikuntha. Goloka. There is no insecurity because nobody has. The only post and position is Vishnu. He is the master of Vaikuntha and everybody is servant of the Lord. They don't identify with any external posts and positions. So, Indra became very, very afraid. Every time the 100th yajna was there, he would kidnap the horse. Then one day, when the last yajna was going to occur, Indra kidnapped the horse and he was running away in the sky, and Atri Muni saw Indra. So immediately Atri Muni told Prithu's son, get him, capture him, kill him if you require, but get back the horse. He's conducting too much disturbance. So he ran behind Indra, and when Indra saw he was following, Indra tried to run very fast, but then he put an arrow on his bow and he was going to kill Indra. Meanwhile, Indra left the horse and he became invisible and left. So again they started the yajna. Again Indra came. He had a storm. He conducted a storm where nobody could see anything, and in that confusion, dense darkness, he again kidnapped the horse. And this time his son again followed him. And this time when he was about to kill Indra, Indra took the garb of a sannyasi, Kapalika sannyasi. He took a staff which had a skull on his head. And so this son of Prithu, thinking he is a sannyasi, he said, okay, go away, I don't kill sannyasis. In that way he spared the sannyasi. So Indra got this weak point. And every time he started kidnapping the horse, he started taking the form of different sannyasis. So actually Indra manufactured the orders of different bogus sannyas orders in the society which are prevalent now. Have all come from Indra actually. All the only bona fide order in Kali Yuga of sannyas is Tridanda sannyas, the Vaishnava sannyas, which is meant for worshipping Lord Krishna. Jnana sannyas and Karma sannyas are prohibited in Kali Yuga. In the Brihad Naradiya Purana it is said, Ashwamedam Kavalambam Sannyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Suparosudopattim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayit. 5 things are prohibited in Kali Yuga. What are the 5 things? Ashwamedam, one cannot sacrifice horses to do yajna, and Kavalambam, not sacrificing cows to do yajna. Ashwamedam Kavalambam Sannyasam, Jnana sannyas and Karma sannyas is prohibited in Kali Yuga. Sannyas, some people take sannyas to become one with Narayan, that is known as Jnana sannyas. That is not recommended in Kali Yuga. And Karma sannyas, some people take sannyas to maintain their living, as some material occupation. That is also prohibited in Kali Yuga. The sannyasam, palapaitrikam. Palapaitrikam is to sacrifice animals, that is also Devarena Sutopattim, to procreate children from a family member like Devara. Devara means what? Husband's brother. In the earlier times it was allowed sometimes when there were no children to procreate children, but in Kali Yuga it is not allowed. These 5 things are prohibited in Kali Yuga. So, but this Indra taking on all these bogus forms of sannyas, and Prithu got very angry, and this time he picked up his arrow and he wanted to kill Indra forever. At that time, because he was propagating adharma, at that time the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord came himself with Indra